Hey y'all, thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Here I want to speak about how we get caught up in other people's sagas, dramas, experiences, energy, how we get caught up in their energy by listening. It's okay because all of us needed air. All of us need, at times, we're looking for someone to just listen. Just listen. But there are times where there are people that dump. They just dump. They have a lot going on. It's very heavy. And they need something to dump it into or to dump it on. You hear the stories or you see it in the movies or whenever when someone goes to a lounge or a bar and they sit, or even the beauty shop, the barber shop, and they sit and they tell the stylist or the barber all of their issues. And of course, in my other video, I told you about the robot where you can now go to a robot and tell all your stuff and dump all your stuff right there. But with that said, that's like basically taking all of your inner thoughts and storing data. You're adding more data to whatever the storage, whatever it is. But okay, let me stop. We look to people to talk to, but sometimes we don't realize that we're using them as a dump truck. And that when you walk away, you may feel better. If that person doesn't know how to keep their armor of love, to shield themselves, to be non-judgmental completely and just let it roll off their back. If you have a need to go do that, know that you are literally taking some of the weight off your shoulders and putting it into the body and mind of someone else, and even the heart of someone else. But many don't know how to clear themselves of that energy once it's dumped. And so they walk around not realizing or fully understanding or not fully understanding that they're actually carrying other people's stuff. Now, let me take a moment. It doesn't mean that you are not walking around with your psyche or memory that's within your body, that you're not walking around with your ancestors' stuff, because you are. That is so. And so not only are you carrying your stuff that you picked up along your life's experience, you are also carrying some of the stuff of what one might say previous lives, or their ancestors' lives, or bearing the cross of something that is deeply rooted within their psyche. And so they go around from day to day trying to get themselves right when they don't know that they have to go and get some of that energy removed from them. Now, some people know how to do this on their own. Other people know to go to where they worship or things like that. Oftentimes, people are going through things. They need someone to talk to. They turn to their best friend or relative or a stranger or a close associate, and they dump all of that stuff. Now, either you're the one that gets dumped on most of the time, or you're the one that's doing the dumping. So that's, you have to self-check. Or sometimes you're just in the middle. You get dumped on, and then you find someone you can dump that stuff on as well when it gets very heavy. But know that when you're feeling a certain way, what were you listening to? What were you talking about? What were you engaging in? Who were you with? Who are you on the phone with most of the time? Who texting? With whom are you communing with most of the time? And with whom are you speaking with most of the time? And sharing your mind time with? Because it's either you dumping or they're dumping. And either way, everything has a way of working out because there's no coincidence. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason for everything. So there's a way where if you're dumping on someone, check yourself. If you're the one that's carrying around everybody's stuff, you might want to check that too. Lift yourself away from that. And you don't really have to say anything. You basically have to shift, become aware of it, and make a decision for yourself as to what you prefer. And somehow the universe will orchestrate things where suddenly you're no longer being the dump truck. Or perhaps the stuff that's so heavy begins to lift. You begin to shift. And I think I talked about that in one of my other videos about how you, when there's a shift in consciousness, where you've actually come to understand, overstand, or as one of my brothers would say, all of these different things, you transcend. It seems like you rise above these things, and then you can see clearly how you are being an enabler, or whether or not you're being the one that's doing the dumping. Much love, Choice here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another session of Choice Spirit. Namaste.